The Galactic Council Hall hung suspended in the void, its massive ring structure rotating slowly around the ancient star *7. From a distance, it resembled a magnificent crown of light, a testament to the 300-year cooperation between intelligent species across the galaxy. Today, the hall buzzed with unusual activity as representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered to witness a historic moment. The first human to take a seat on the Galactic Council. Elias Vane stood alone in the preparation chamber, adjusting the collar of his blue-white uniform, emblazoned with the Earth delegation insignia. Through the viewport, he could see the dazzling array of ships docked at the station, sleek Zynar vessels with their distinctive blue propulsion trails, massive Vortan dreadnoughts bristling with defense systems, and the elegant spiral-shaped diplomatic carriers of the Cirili. Among them, the United Earthship Harmony looked almost primitive despite being the pride of human engineering. 3 minutes until formal introduction. Counselor Vane announced the AI assistant through his neural interface. Elias nodded, feeling the weight of 8 billion humans resting on his shoulders. As Earth's first representative to the Galactic Council, he carried not just their hopes, but the burden of humanity's troubled history. Only a century ago, Earth had nearly destroyed itself in nuclear conflict. Now, they sought to prove they deserved a place among civilizations thousands of years older than their own. "Remember your training," he whispered to himself. Calm, composed, confident. His support team entered the chamber. Dr. Mira Cole, Earth's leading xenoeconomist, approached with datapads displaying latest statistics on the Oriole star system, the focus of Earth's first major proposal to the Council. "The numbers are solid," she said, her voice steady, but her eyes betraying anxiety. "Our resource-sharing model exceeds sustainability requirements by 28%. Behind her stood Major Orion May, Earth's military liaison, his posture rigid as he scanned the room out of habit. "The Vortan delegation brought 3 more security officers than protocol dictates," May observed. "And the Cirili representative has requested private communication channels for the session." "Standard political maneuvering," Elias replied, though he noted the information carefully. "We expected this." The chamber door slid open, revealing a Galactic Council attendant, a tall, willowy Iridia with luminescent skin patterns that pulsed with gentle light. "Counselor Vane, the chamber awaits." Elias took a deep breath and nodded to his team. "Let's make history." The Grand Assembly Chamber was larger than any human structure Elias had ever entered. Tiered seating rose in concentric circles around a central platform, accommodating thousands of representatives from across the galaxy. Holographic displays floated above, showing close-ups of the proceedings for those seated far from the center. The ceiling displayed a real-time map of the galaxy, with the current positions of all member worlds illuminated. As Elias stepped onto the entry platform, the chamber's ambient conversation faded. Thousands of eyes, some multifaceted, some bioluminescent, some barely recognizable as visual organs, turned toward him. Spotlights automatically tracked his movement, illuminating the Earth delegation insignia on his chest. In that moment, the room fell silent. He walked steadily to the central platform, where 11 other beings already sat, the highest governing body of the Galactic Union. There was the crystalline form of the Zynar Counselor Zanar, whose silicon-based biology allowed perfect recall of every council session for the past century. Beside him sat the massive Arkan Vought, representative of the militaristic Vortan Empire, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under the lights. And there, watching him with ancient eyes, sat Elder Sorella of the Cirili Dominion, one of the founding species of the Galactic Union. Elias took his designated seat, the 12th chair, newly installed for Earth's representative. The neural interface embedded in the chair connected with his implant, providing instant translation and council protocol guides. Elder Sorella rose first, her slender form draped in ceremonial garments that shifted colors with her movements. The Council recognizes Elias Vane of Earth, she announced, her voice melodious, yet carrying a subtle edge. The first human to sit among us. She paused, her compound eyes narrowing slightly. A species that unleashed nuclear devastation upon itself merely a century ago. We wonder, Councillor Vane, if humans are truly calm enough to join our deliberations? The question hung in the air, a diplomatic challenge disguised as welcome. Elias felt a flash of anger, but suppressed it. This was exactly what Sorella wanted, to provoke an emotional response that would reinforce stereotypes about human volatility. Elder Sorella, Elias replied, his voice steady. Humanity thanks you for your welcome. We stand before you, not despite our troubled past, but because of what we learned from it. For over 150 years, Earth has known peace, a peace built on understanding that cooperation yields greater rewards than conflict. He stood, activating the holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed the Oriole star system, a previously unexplored region, rich in resources. Today, we propose a joint interplanetary initiative to explore and develop the Oriole system. Our scientists have identified unique ecological patterns that could benefit all species. While the system's abundant resources could be harvested sustainably using Earth's extraction technologies combined with Zynar precision and Vortan transportation networks. The chamber remained silent as council members examined the proposal data streaming to their interfaces. Councillor Zynar was the first to respond, his crystalline form refracting light as he shifted. Your resource allocation model appears efficient, Councillor Vane, the Zynar stated, analytical as always. However, I question the division of territorial rights. The northwestern quadrant contains 73% of the crystalline deposits, yet your proposal grants Zynar only 18% access. Before Elias could respond, Arkenvat's voice boomed across the chamber. Earth speaks of cooperation while planning exploitation, the Vortan declared. Your kind has always excelled at taking what isn't yours. Perhaps you should demonstrate peaceful intentions before proposing to mine our borders. Murmurs spread throughout the chamber. Elias maintained his composure, though he noticed Dr. Cole tensing beside him. This was not unexpected. First proposals were rarely accepted without challenge. Councillors, the Oriole system falls within neutral space, as defined by the Fifth Territorial Accord. Elias countered. Our proposal emphasizes shared development with ecological preservation as a priority. We've incorporated Vortan security protocols and Zynar analytical frameworks precisely because we seek genuine collaboration, not exploitation. Elder Sorella raised a hand, silencing the chamber once more. The Council acknowledges Earth's proposal, she said coolly. But questions remain. Why should we entrust a region of such value to a civilization that once nearly destroyed itself? What assurance do we have that human impulses toward conflict have truly been subdued? The question wasn't just for Elias. It was directed at the entire assembly, planting seeds of doubt. Our history is precisely why we understand the value of restraint, Elias responded. But if the Council requires proof beyond words, Earth is prepared to submit to additional oversight protocols during the initial exploration phase. As the session continued, Elias navigated the complex interplay of interests and suspicions. By the end, the Council had neither approved nor rejected the Oriole proposal, but had agreed to form an investigative committee. A small victory, if not the one he'd hoped for. Later, in the Earth delegation's private chambers, tension erupted. They're deliberately stalling, Major May said, pacing the room. The Vortan already have scout ships near Oriole. If we don't establish presence soon, they'll claim territorial rights by first exploration. Dr. Cole shook her head, reviewing data on her pad. We need to focus on the economic arguments. The numbers support our case. We just need to present them more effectively. Numbers won't matter if they've already decided against us, May countered. We should deploy a military escort with our survey team. Show strength while maintaining the diplomatic approach. Absolutely not, Cole responded sharply. Military presence would only confirm their suspicions about human aggression. Elias listened to the debate, recognizing it mirrored the larger tension within the council. Both approaches have merit, he finally said. Dr. Cole, prepare enhanced economic projections focusing on benefits to Zynar manufacturing. Major May, draft a security protocol that emphasizes defensive capabilities only. We'll balance both perspectives. He turned toward the viewport, watching the stars. The Soreli are leading the opposition, but their concerns aren't baseless. Humanity did nearly destroy itself. We need to acknowledge that history, while showing we've moved beyond it. The next day, an urgent communication interrupted their preparation. The Earth survey vessel, Titania 3, which had been conducting preliminary environmental studies at the edge of the Oriole system, had been attacked. The Vortan claimed the ship had violated territorial boundaries. The ship's logs indicated it had remained in neutral space. The pilot was severely injured. The ship's systems were crippled. An emergency council session was called immediately. The emergency session crackled with tension. Representatives from dozens of worlds packed the observation galleries, sensing the potential for significant diplomatic shifts. Elias entered the chamber alongside Major May, whose face was grim with barely controlled anger. Arkanvat spoke first. His armored exoskeleton expanded to intimidation proportions. The Earth vessel penetrated the Corvus defensive perimeter, a clear violation of Vortan security zones, he declared. Our response was measured and appropriate. Elias stepped forward, activating the central display to show the navigation logs from Titania 3. The data clearly shows our vessel remained within neutral space, as defined by galactic cartography standards, he stated firmly. Furthermore, no warning was issued before Vortan forces opened fire on an unarmed scientific vessel. Elder Sorella interjected, her voice carrying artificial concern. Perhaps this incident demonstrates the very impetuosity we feared. Sending vessels to contested regions before council approval suggests impatience. The Oriole system is not contested, Elias countered, struggling to maintain diplomatic tone. It is neutral territory under the Fifth Territorial Accord, which all council members have ratified. Our preliminary survey was legal and transparent. The debate intensified. Zynar representatives questioned the accuracy of the navigation data. Vortan officials cited obscure security protocols. Several minor species representatives called for independent investigation. During a brief recess, Dr. Cole approached Elias with urgent news. Zynar news networks are reporting that we released biological agents on Carrick, she whispered, showing him the reports on her datapad. It's completely fabricated, but it's spreading across the Galactic Information Network. Elias felt a chill. This was more than standard political maneuvering. It was a coordinated attempt to discredit Earth before they could establish themselves in the Council. Who's behind it? He asked. The source appears to be a Soreli information node, Cole replied, but it's being amplified through Zynar channels. Major May joined them, his expression dark. We need to deploy a protective escort to our remaining survey ships immediately. This is escalating beyond politics. Elias weighed his options. Aggressive response would play into the narrative being constructed against them. Passive acceptance would demonstrate weakness. He needed a third path. Dr. Cole, gather irrefutable evidence about our Carrick operations. Full sensor logs, crew testimonials, everything. Major May, prepare the escort but keep them at the outer system boundary. And I need access to the Council's data infrastructure. There's something not right about how this information is spreading. When the session resumed, Elias requested an unexpected protocol. Truth mode, access to the Council's information systems. This rarely invoked procedure would force complete transparency in all data sources presented to the Council. Elder Sorella's compound eyes flickered with what might have been surprise. or concern. Truth mode is reserved for matters of existential significance, she objected. This border dispute hardly qualifies. When false accusations of biological warfare are being disseminated through official channels, the integrity of the council itself is at stake. Elias responded, "If Earth is to be judged, let it be on facts, not fabrications." After tense deliberation, a majority of council members approved the request. The chamber's systems shifted, and suddenly, all information sources became tagged with their origins, modifications, and verification status. The navigation logs from Titania 3 were confirmed authentic, showing the vessel had indeed remained in neutral space. More significantly, the biological warfare accusations were revealed to have originated from a Surreali diplomatic server, with artificially constructed evidence. The chamber erupted in chaos as the manipulation was exposed. Elder Sorella remained silent, her posture rigid as multiple species demanded explanations. In that critical moment, Elias rose to speak, and once again, the room fell silent. "I do not come before you to accuse or condemn," he said, his voice steady. "Earth knows too well the cost of accusation and retribution. Instead, I ask, why must fear drive us to deception? What threat does Earth truly pose that would justify such measures?" He turned directly to Elder Sorella. "The Surreali have guided this council with wisdom for centuries. Why now resort to falsification? Is it fear of a new voice, or something deeper?" Sorella remained silent for what seemed an eternity. The entire chamber watched, thousands of beings from across the galaxy witnessing this pivotal moment. Finally, she spoke, her voice lacking its usual melodious quality. "The Council has existed in careful balance for generations. New elements disrupt that balance. Some believed it prudent to delay Earth's full participation until proper adjustments could be made. It wasn't quite an admission, but it was enough. The Council voted to establish an independent investigation into the false information campaign. More significantly, they approved the first phase of the Oriole development project, with Earth as a primary stakeholder." As Elias left the chamber, he felt both triumph and unease. They had won this battle, but the war for acceptance was far from over. The immediate aftermath brought swift changes. The Council formally approved the Oriole project, establishing a joint development framework that gave Earth significant responsibility while maintaining oversight from established species. Elder Sorella, while not removed from the Council, was formally censured, a rare punishment that would diminish Surreali influence for years to come. Dr. Mira Call was appointed Interstellar Relations Director for the project, responsible for ensuring fair implementation of resource-sharing agreements. Major Orion May became Military Liaison Officer, coordinating with the Union fleet to provide security without militarizing the development zone. Elias found himself elevated to unexpected prominence. Species that had been hesitant to engage with humans now sought diplomatic connections. The Earth delegation expanded its offices on the Council station, and human cultural exchanges became fashionable among certain circles. Yet, beneath the surface, troubling currents remained. A week after the confrontation, Elias received an encrypted message from a source within Zynar intelligence. It suggested that a radical faction within their society, the Zynar purists, had been working to destabilize the Council structure, using Earth's admission as catalyst for broader conflict. "They didn't expect you to expose the Surreali deception," the message explained. "They anticipated conflict between Earth and Vortan that would fracture existing alliances. Your unexpected victory disrupted their timeline, but they're adapting." Elias shared this information with his core team in the secured Earth delegation office. "So we haven't just been fighting for our place at the table," Dr. Cole observed. "We've been unwitting players in a larger game." Major May studied the intelligence reports with professional scrutiny. "This changes our security posture. We need to identify potential threats within all delegations, not just the obvious opponents. Elias gazed out at the stars visible through the viewport. Our priority remains unchanged. Prove that humanity deserves its council seat through actions, not just words. But now, we must be vigilant against those who would use us as pawns. Later that evening, alone in his quarters, Elias found himself reflecting on the responsibility he carried. Had Earth truly earned its place in the Council? Or had they merely outmaneuvered a clumsy attempt at sabotage? Would humanity's presence ultimately strengthen the Galactic Union? Or would they inadvertently bring their troubled history of conflict into this delicate balance of civilizations? He recalled his mother's words from years ago, during her time in the Sol Venir Peace Coalition. Humans once forgot their humanity. Never let history repeat itself. The next phase would be crucial. The preliminary survey team would soon depart for Oriel, establishing the first permanent human presence in that system. Their actions would set the tone for everything that followed. Elias made his decision. He would personally join the survey mission, demonstrating Earth's commitment at the highest level. If humanity was to be judged, let it be by their actions in building something new, not just their skill in political maneuvering. The council hall hummed with activity as representatives gathered for the official commission ceremony. The Oriel Interdisciplinary Commission would oversee all development in the system, ensuring compliance with the Biological Non-Proliferation Accord and Sustainable Resource Management principles. Elias stood on the ceremonial platform alongside representatives from 7 species. Before them stretched the assembled dignitaries of the Galactic Union, thousands of beings witnessing the formal beginning of the project. The High Arbiter, a neutral entity from the ancient Thalos species, conducted the ceremony with measured gravity. By unanimous decision of the Galactic Council, Elias Vane of Earth is appointed chairperson of the Oversight and Accreditation Committee for the Oriel Development Initiative. The Arbiter announced. This appointment recognizes both Earth's central role in the project and the need for transparent leadership. Elias stepped forward to accept the formal mandate, aware of the symbolic weight of the moment. Humans, the newcomers, would lead this collaborative effort, a test of their ability to work alongside ancient civilizations as equals. The Oriel system represents more than resources to be harvested or territories to be claimed. He addressed the assembly. It offers us the opportunity to demonstrate that diverse species can build something greater together than any could achieve alone. He continued, his voice carrying throughout the chamber. Humanity does not come to Oriel as visitors or colonizers, but as partners in creating a sustainable, interplanetary community. The mistakes of our past have taught us the value of careful stewardship and genuine cooperation. As he spoke, he noted Elder Sorella watching from a secondary position, still present, but diminished in status. Their eyes met briefly, and he saw something unexpected, not hostility, but cautious reassessment. The ceremony concluded with the formal charter signing, each representative adding their biological or electronic signature to the document. Tomorrow, the United Earth Empire ship Unity would depart for Oriel, carrying the advance team that would establish the first outpost. Later, in the diplomatic gardens, a massive biodome containing plant species from thousands of worlds, Elias found a moment of peace. The artificial sunlight filtered through exotic foliage, creating patterns on the path before him. At the center of the garden stood the starlight reflecting pool, its surface mirroring the holographic stars projected above. Dr. Cole found him there, gazing into the pool. "The preparation team has finished loading the Unity," she reported. "We launch at Oro 600 station time." Elias nodded. "Are you nervous?" She considered the question seriously. "About the technical challenges? No. About whether we can truly bridge the gap between Earth and civilizations thousands of years our senior? Absolutely. We don't need to become like them," Elias said. "We just need to show that our differences can be complementary rather than conflicting." Major May joined them. His usual military bearing softened slightly in the garden's tranquility. "Security protocols are in place," he reported. "The Union fleet has assigned 3 observer vessels to accompany us, officially for protection, unofficially to monitor our activities." "As expected," Elias replied. "Trust is earned gradually." Speaking of trust," May continued, lowering his voice, "our intelligence sources indicate increased activity among the Xynar purist faction. They're displeased with the outcome of the council decision." Elias absorbed this information with growing concern. The political victory had been significant, but perhaps it had only driven their opponents to more desperate measures. "We proceed as planned," he decided, "but increase security on all communications and be prepared for further attempts to undermine the mission." As they discussed final preparations, a Soreli diplomat approached, not Elder Sorella herself, but one of her senior advisors. The 3 humans fell silent, watching cautiously as the Soreli bowed in formal greeting. "Counselor Vane," the diplomat began, "Elder Sorella requests that I convey a message. The ancient does not easily accept the new, but wisdom lies in recognizing when resistance becomes foolishness." Without waiting for response, the diplomat placed a small, crystalline object on the edge of the reflecting pool and departed. May moved to examine it, scanning for threats with a handheld device. "It's clean," he confirmed. "Some kind of data storage." Elias activated the crystal. A holographic star chart appeared, highlighting regions within the Oriole system not included in their survey plans. Attached was a simple message: "Areas of caution." "Is this a warning or assistance?" Dr. Cole wondered. "Perhaps both," Elias replied. "The Soreli are too proud to openly support us after their public censure, but too pragmatic to allow the mission to fail due to preventable disasters." He studied the marked regions. "Have our survey team adjust their approach vectors to account for these areas. We'll verify the information, but cautiously accept the gesture." The morning of departure arrived with ceremonial fanfare. The Unity, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel, sat prepared in the central docking bay of the Council Station. Its sleek hull gleamed under the lights, the Earth insignia prominently displayed alongside the Galactic Union emblem, a visual statement of collaboration. Hundreds of representatives gathered to witness the departure, along with media from dozens of worlds. This mission would be scrutinized across the galaxy, each success or failure magnified by constant observation. Elias addressed the assembled crowd one final time before boarding. "Today marks not just the beginning of the Oriole Initiative, but a new chapter in humanity's participation in galactic affairs. We carry with us not only Earth's hopes, but our commitment to becoming worthy stewards, alongside the ancient civilizations that have welcomed us, however reluctantly, to this council." He turned to acknowledge representatives from each major species. The Oriole system belongs to no single species. Its development will benefit all who participate with good faith and sustainable practices. Earth is honored to coordinate this effort, and we accept the responsibility with appropriate humility. As the boarding process began, Elias noted Counselor Xynar approaching, the crystalline being moved with deliberate precision, light refracting through his silicon-based form. "Counselor Vane," the Xynar began, voice modulated to human comfortable frequencies. "My analysis indicates a 78% probability that elements within my species will attempt to disrupt your mission. This prediction is unofficial and unsanctioned." Elias studied the Xynar carefully. "Why tell me this?" "Stability benefits precise calculation," Xynar replied. "Disruption introduces variables that complicate long-term modeling. The Xynar purist's approach is inefficient." It wasn't an expression of support or friendship. Xynar rarely operated on such emotional foundations, but it was valuable information freely given. "Thank you for your efficient communication," Elias responded. "Earth values predictability as well." With final preparations complete, the mission team boarded the Unity. Elias took his place on the command deck, watching through viewports as the massive docking clamps released. The ship eased away from the station, its propulsion system generating the distinctive blue-white glow of fusion drives. As they cleared the station's immediate vicinity, the FTL drive engaged. Space distorted around them, and the Unity leaped toward the Oriole system, toward humanity's first major collaborative effort as Council members. The journey to Oriole would take 3 days at maximum sustainable FTL speeds. During transit, Elias immersed himself in final preparation, reviewing geological surveys, ecological projections, and security assessments. The mission carried enormous symbolic weight, but its practical success would depend on thorough planning and adaptability. On the second day of transit, Dr. Cole brought concerning news during their daily briefing in the ship's conference room. "We've detected unusual communication patterns from one of the Union observer vessels," she reported. "They're transmitting large data packets toward the Zynar home system, bypassing standard Union communication protocols." Major May frowned, reviewing the security logs. "The encryption matches known Zynar purist patterns. I recommend we alter our arrival coordinates as a precaution." Elias considered the implications. "If they're monitoring us this closely, they already know our destination. Changing course would signal that we've detected their surveillance." "So we proceed as planned while preparing for potential interference?" Call asked. "Exactly," Elias confirmed. "But let's activate countermeasures on our critical systems and prepare a detailed record of all our activities. If they attempt to falsify reports about our actions, we'll need ironclad evidence." The Unity dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Oriole system, right on schedule. The main view screen displayed the system's brilliant primary star, a young yellow-white giant surrounded by 14 planets of varying sizes. Their target was Oriole 4, a mineral-rich world with thin but potentially adaptable atmosphere. As they began system approach, the sensor officer reported multiple vessel signatures already in the area, more than the expected Union observers. 16 ships detected, she announced. Configuration matches Vortan patrol vessels, but they're operating without standard identification beacons. Before Elias could respond, a communication request flashed on the main console. The face that appeared belonged to a Vortan commander, his exoskeleton markings indicating mid-level military rank. "Earth Vessel Unity," the Vortan stated without preamble. "You have entered a designated security zone. State your purpose and prepare for boarding inspection." Major May stepped forward. "This is a direct violation of the Council mandate. The Oriole system has been designated as a collaborative development zone under neutral administration." The Vortan commander's facial plates shifted in what humans had learned to recognize as dismissal. "Recent security intelligence indicates potential biohazard threats in this region. The Vortan Empire is exercising its right to preventative quarantine under Section 87 of the Galactic Security Accord." "This is fabricated justification," Dr. Cole interjected. "Our mission has full biological clearance from the Council's Xenobiological Safety Commission." Elias raised a hand, signaling his team to pause. This confrontation had been carefully engineered, either by Vortan hardliners or the Zynar purists manipulating them. Direct opposition would play into their strategy. "Commander," he addressed the Vortan calmly, "we acknowledge your security concerns. The Unity will hold position while we consult with Council authorities regarding this unexpected development. We request a 12-hour diplomatic window before any boarding action." The commander appeared momentarily thrown by the reasonable response. 10 hours, he countered. "Maintain your current position. Any approach toward Oriole 4 will be considered hostile action." The communication ended, and Elias immediately turned to his team. "This is the challenge we anticipated. They're trying to provoke an incident that would justify military intervention and discredit Earth's leadership. We have limited options," May assessed grimly. "The Unity isn't equipped for confrontation with 16 Vorten vessels. "We don't need military options," Elias replied. "We need transparency. Activate all external recording systems and broadcast our situation on open council channels. Dr. Cole, prepare a formal diplomatic protest citing specific violation of the Oriel Charter." "And if they board us anyway?" she asked. "They won't," Elias said with more confidence than he felt. "The Vortan military follows orders, but they're not foolish. Creating an incident under full public observation would damage their standing in the council." He turned to the communications officer. "Establish direct link to the council hall. Request emergency session regarding unauthorized military deployment in the Oriel system." As the Unity maintained position, tensions escalated. The Vortan vessels moved into containment formation around them, weapon systems visibly powered. The observer ships from the Union fleet maintained distance, apparently unwilling to intervene without direct council orders. 8 hours into the standoff, their persistence paid off. The main communication system activated, displaying the imposing figure of the High Arbiter from the Council. "The Council has convened regarding the situation," the ancient Thalos announced. "The Vorten Empire has been ordered to withdraw all unauthorized vessels from the Oriel system immediately. The Union fleet has dispatched additional observers to ensure compliance." The Arbiter paused, compound eyes, blinking slowly. "Councillor Vane, the Unity is authorized to proceed with its mission as planned. The Council appreciates Earth's measured response to this provocation." After the communication ended, the command deck remained tense until sensors confirmed the Vorten vessels were powering down weapons and altering course away from Oriel 4. "They're withdrawing," the sensor officer confirmed. "Union fleet reinforcements will arrive within 3 hours. Elias allowed himself a moment of relief before addressing his team. "This won't be the last attempt to undermine our mission. But each time we respond with restraint and adherence to Council protocols, we strengthen Earth's position." Dr. Cole studied the retreating Vorten ships on the display. "It's interesting that they were willing to attempt such a transparent violation. Either they're growing desperate or they expected us to respond differently." Major May finished her thought. "Perhaps with force, giving them justification for escalation." Elias nodded. "We need to remember that not everyone wants this mission to succeed. The Zynar purists, Vortan hardliners, even some Soreli factions, they all have reasons to prefer the old power balance. And yet," Cole noted, "we also have allies." The Council's swift response suggests some influential members supported our position. "Politics makes strange bedfellows," Elias agreed. "Let's use this momentum while we have it." The Unity resumed its approach to Oriel 4, deploying preliminary survey drones to map landing sites for the main expedition. Initial readings confirmed the planet's rich mineral deposits, including the valuable crystalline needed for advanced neural interfaces, and the rare quadruple molecule crystals, essential for FTL calibration. As they established orbit, Elias stood at the viewport, watching the planet's surface come into view. Swirling storm systems covered much of the northern hemisphere, while the equatorial regions showed promising stability. This world, untouched by civilization, would soon become a testing ground for humanity's ability to collaborate with ancient species. "It's beautiful," Dr. Cole said, joining him at the viewport. "And dangerous," Elias added. "Both the planet itself and what it represents." "That's why you insisted on leading this mission personally, isn't it? Because the stakes extend beyond resources or politics." Elias nodded slowly. When a human first sat on the Galactic Council, the room fell silent, partly from surprise, partly from apprehension. That silence represented a pivotal moment. Would humanity's inclusion strengthen the Union or destabilize it? He gestured toward the planet below. "What happens here will answer that question more definitively than any speech I could give." The following day, the first landing team prepared to descend to Oriel 4's surface. Elias had insisted on joining them despite security concerns, believing that symbolic leadership required sharing both the privileges and risks of the mission. The landing shuttle carried a diverse crew: human scientists, Zynar analysts, Vortan security specialists, and ecological experts from several other species. This deliberately integrated team embodied the collaborative approach Earth was advocating. As they descended through the atmosphere, the shuttle's sensors detected an unexpected radiation surge, one of the gamma flares mentioned in the Surreally warning data. The pilot adjusted course immediately, narrowly avoiding the invisible but deadly energy wave. Radiation levels would have been fatal, the sensor technician reported. The Surreally data was accurate. Elias exchanged glances with Dr. Cole. The warning hadn't been a trap, but genuine assistance. Perhaps the beginning of a tentative reconciliation. The shuttle touched down on a rocky plateau near one of the richest crystalline deposits. As the team donned environmental suits and prepared to exit, Elias addressed them one final time. This first step onto Oriole 4 carries tremendous significance. We represent not just our individual species, but the possibility of genuine collaboration between civilizations at different stages of development. Let's ensure our actions honor that responsibility. The outer hatch opened, revealing a landscape both alien and strangely familiar: rocky terrain under a pale yellow sky, with distant mountains rising beyond the horizon. Elias stepped out first, his boots leaving clear impressions in the dusty surface. "Unity team has made landfall," he reported back to the ship, beginning preliminary survey. Over the next several hours, the team collected samples, established monitoring equipment, and mapped the immediate area. The crystalline deposits exceeded initial estimates, and preliminary atmospheric analysis suggested terraforming might be possible with moderate intervention. As they worked, Elias noticed something remarkable. The artificial divisions between species began to fade. The Zynar analysts collaborated smoothly with human geologists. Vortan security personnel exchanged professional assessments with Earth engineers. Scientific curiosity and shared purpose temporarily transcended political divisions. When they returned to the shuttle at day's end, the mood was cautiously optimistic. The first direct contact with Oriole 4 had been successful, yielding valuable data without incident. More importantly, the integrated team had functioned effectively, setting a positive precedent. Back aboard the Unity, Elias prepared his first official report to the Council. The factual data was straightforward: resource confirmation, environmental assessment, preliminary site selection for the permanent outpost. But the report's conclusion required careful consideration. The initial expedition demonstrates both the feasibility of the Oriole initiative and the potential for genuine multi-species collaboration, he wrote. While challenges remain, both environmental and diplomatic, this mission has established that diverse civilizations can work together effectively when unified by common purpose and transparent processes. He added a personal note. As Earth's representative, I have observed firsthand how differences in evolutionary background and technological development can become strengths rather than obstacles when approached with mutual respect. The silence that greeted humanity's arrival at the Council may yet be replaced by harmonious cooperation. As the report transmitted to the Council Hall, Elias returned to the viewport, watching Oriole 4 rotate slowly beneath them. The mission would continue for weeks, establishing the first outpost, conducting detailed surveys, developing initial extraction protocols. Each successful day would strengthen Earth's position in the Council. Each collaborative achievement would help secure humanity's place among the stars. Yet he harbored no illusions about the challenges ahead. The Zynar purists remained a threat. Vortan hardliners would seek other opportunities to assert dominance. Even the Surreally, despite their recent gesture of assistance, might harbor lingering resentment over their public humiliation. The path forward would require constant vigilance, diplomatic skill, and unwavering commitment to the principles that had earned Earth its council seat. 3 weeks later, as the primary outpost neared completion, Elias stood on a ridge overlooking the construction site. Prefabricated modules formed a growing complex, with energy collectors extending outward to capture Oriel's abundant solar radiation. Teams of workers from 7 species moved purposefully through the site, establishing the infrastructure that would support long-term operations. Major May approached, having completed his regular security assessment. "The perimeter sensors are fully operational," he reported, "and the first defensive shields will be online by tomorrow." "Defensive, not offensive," Elias emphasized. "We maintain a security presence sufficient for protection, not dominance." May nodded, his perspective having evolved over the weeks of the mission. The Vortan security team made the same recommendation. They're proving to be surprisingly reasonable colleagues when removed from their command structure. This was perhaps the most encouraging development: individual representatives of various species forming professional relationships beyond political divisions. Dr. Call joined them, her environmental suit showing traces of the mineral samples she'd been analyzing. "The ecological impact assessments are promising," she reported. "With proper containment protocols, we can extract resources while minimizing disruption to the native ecosystem." Elias surveyed the operation with cautious pride. "When we first proposed this initiative, many doubted that humans could lead a collaborative project of this magnitude. Now, we're demonstrating not just capability, but commitment to sustainable development." "It's a beginning," Cole agreed. "Though we shouldn't overstate our progress. The real test will come when extraction begins, and resource allocation decisions must be implemented." "One step at a time," Elias replied. "Each successful phase builds trust." Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from the communications officer. "Counselor Vane, we're receiving a priority transmission from the council hall." Returning to the outpost's command center, Elias found the holographic projector displaying Elder Sorella, a surprising development given her diminished status following the earlier confrontation. "Counselor Vane," she began, her voice carrying none of its former condescension. "The Council has reviewed your progress reports with interest. The Oversight Committee has voted unanimously to accelerate Phase 2 of the initiative, based on your team's exemplary implementation of Phase 1 protocols." It was a significant endorsement, particularly coming from Sorella, who now chaired the Oversight Committee despite her censure. "We appreciate the Council's confidence," Elias responded carefully. "My team has worked diligently to ensure all species' interests are represented in our implementation." Sorella's compound eyes studied him through the holographic link. "The Council recognizes that Earth's approach to this project has been more balanced than some anticipated. This speaks well of your species' potential for constructive participation in galactic affairs." Coming from Sorella, this qualified praise represented a remarkable shift. After the transmission ended, Dr. Cole expressed what many were thinking. "That was tantamount to an apology," she observed with surprise. "Or a political recalculation," Major May suggested, ever pragmatic. "The Sorelli are nothing if not adaptable. With the initiative succeeding, they're positioning themselves to share in the success rather than being remembered only for opposition." "Either way," Elias noted, "it's progress. The more established species that accept Earth's role, the more stable our position becomes." That evening, as Oriel's primary star set behind distant mountains, casting an amber glow across the outpost, Elias recorded a personal log, something he'd maintained throughout the mission for eventual historical archives. "Day 23 on Oriel 4, he began. "The outpost is nearing initial operational capacity. Collaboration between species continues to improve as personal relationships develop among team members. The Council's endorsement of accelerated development suggests growing confidence in our approach." He paused, collecting his thoughts before continuing. "When I first took my seat on the Galactic Council, the chamber fell silent, a silence born of uncertainty and apprehension. That silence represented the question at the heart of humanity's inclusion. Would we elevate the Galactic Union or disrupt it with our volatile history? Here on Oriole 4, I believe we're beginning to answer that question, not through grand declarations or political maneuvering, but through consistent demonstration of our commitment to genuine collaboration. Each day, we prove that humanity's relative youth among spacefaring civilizations can be an asset rather than a liability, bringing fresh perspective while respecting ancient wisdom. He looked toward the stars becoming visible in the darkening sky. The silence that greeted us may yet be replaced by something more valuable: the productive harmony of diverse civilizations working toward common purpose. Earth's journey among the stars has only just begun, but I believe we've taken the first crucial steps toward proving ourselves worthy companions for the journey ahead. As the survey capsule, Unity 1, detached from the mothership and began its descent toward the unexplored regions of Oriole 4, Elias watched from the command deck. The small craft represented the next phase of exploration, pushing beyond the established outpost into territories rich with both resources and dangers. The path ahead remains uncertain, he reflected. The Xynar purists and other factions opposing Earth's inclusion will continue their efforts to undermine our position. Natural dangers on Oriole 4 will test our technical capabilities and collaborative processes. Political pressures within the Council will ebb and flow as various species pursue their interests. But in that moment when a human first sat on the Galactic Council and the room fell silent, something fundamental changed. The door to genuine multi-species cooperation opened, if only slightly. Our task now is to ensure it never closes again, to transform momentary silence into lasting dialogue. Unity 1 disappeared into the swirling atmosphere of Oriole 4, carrying representatives of 3 species on its journey of discovery. Whatever they found there, dangers or opportunities, they would face it together. Writing the next chapter in humanity's galactic journey, one collaborative step at a time.